Okay, so I think, yes, we will want to be at the, over here in the commons at, at some point. I guess we just go here to get to the embassies. But let's prioritize, first and foremost, getting the big stuff. Get the big stuff from the embassies. We'll go to the commons to get the whatever remaining weapons there may be. Those are going to be comparatively much cheaper, of course, but I just think that for the most part they are not going to be as strong. So might as well, I think, see how much money we have to buy stuff here, because this is also where all the expensive stuff is going to be. So this will be the biggest test to see, can we truly buy everything? Or are we going to need to hold back a little bit in a few places? So, since we're about to spend a whole lot of money, why don't we save? And then we'll see. So, Valiant is the most expensive. That's 250,000. Then Black Widow plus Paladin collectively is another 200,000, so that's up to 450,000. Harrier gets us up to 600,000. Then 7,600, or rather, 760,000. English. There. You know what I meant. And then, other than that, some littler things like upgrades to some weapons and the greaves that we missed previously, which actually, I mean, by some accounts, power recharge speed is not a terrible idea for adepts, but it's still, it's not the shields and health that we are usually trying to prioritize, because if we are trying to go with power recharge speed and other power-based stuff, then just taking the preset Cerberus Spirit Armor that we unlocked from doing the high score on the arena is probably the way to go. But it looks like, just based on those back-of-the-napkin calculations, that we probably can afford everything here and still have a lot of money left. So I think we just go for it. So Black Widow, I mean, we've talked about many of these weapons before, but I suppose we'll read up on them and maybe try them out in the firing range as well, just to see what they are really like. So the Black Widow, as we said previously, by some accounts, the best assault rifle in the game. Up there with the Javelin. I think those are the two that are generally competing for that title. The Black Widow, it is, I think it might hit a little bit harder. It has multiple shots in a clip, which is not something that the Javelin can say, so it's better for if you're trying to get off a few little bursts. Then technically the damage per second is probably a little bit better. Potentially, I guess it's significantly better on the Black Widow for that reason. But it doesn't have the same quality of life improvements that the Javelin has, because the Javelin can see through walls, at least to a certain extent. And that can be quite useful if that is something you're trying to make a point of doing, especially if you're racking up a whole bunch of armor and cover penetration. So we'll pick this up. The Paladin, just a well-rounded pistol. The Paladin is a reliable, durable weapon developed by law enforcement looking for a high-powered but easily concealed sidearm for undercover agents. Surprisingly small for its hitting power, the Paladin is a variant on the Carnifex pistol. While it has a smaller clip than the Carnifex, its shots are unquestionably more powerful. So that's the thing. It's on the slower, harder hitting side of pistols. So it's, you know, maybe not as good as a secondary weapon. Maybe. Because if enemies start to rush you down from close range and, you know, maybe a sniper rifle is your primary weapon, then you might still be caught a little bit flat-footed with the Paladin. You might prefer to have something that fires a little bit quicker, can do a little bit more burst damage than this, whereas this is maybe better as a primary weapon on some characters that just, for squad mates, don't have access to heavier types of weapons like assault rifles, like shotguns, like snipers at all. Or if you're going with Shepard and trying to put it on Shepard, then you're just trying to keep things relatively light. I think as pistols go, I'm pretty sure it's on the heavier side, but it's a little bit of a middle ground between going with just a super light weapon that doesn't do much damage and going the pure power build route, or going for the, you know, all-out weapons damage. I don't care what my cooldowns are. It's all about just shooting things. You know, it's a bit of a middle ground between those two options. Harrier, as I think we've said previously, is, by some accounts, arguably the best assault rifle in the game. Obviously, Typhoon has been working wonders for Garrus, and other squad mates that can use assault rifles, yes. The Harrier, fantastic damage per second. The interesting downside to it is it has very limited ammo capacity, so it does put you in a bit of a tricky spot fairly quickly. If you blow through all that ammo and you don't have an obvious way to get other ammo back, then you're definitely going to be relying pretty heavily on your secondary weapon. So, great when you can shoot it, but the thing is that sometimes you can't, because you'll run out of ammo quite quickly. These Cerberus-modified Matic rifles are fully automatic, whereas the Matic is not. Cerberus gunsmiths reined in the recoil issues, resulting in a gun that stays on target but delivers slightly less punch per round than a standard Matic. That may be the case, but the Matic is not automatic. It's semi-automatic and requires that you spam the trigger button as quickly as possible. So, in truth, I'm pretty sure the Harrier, in practice, is still giving you better damage per second, possibly by a significant margin, but it might just be that the Matic technically does have a lot of DPS, but quality of life is terrible, because you'll be down one finger by the end of using it. As such, the weapon is typically utilized by Cerberus' elite troops who train constantly to make every burst count. That is important. Accuracy is important because, again, with limited ammo capacity, if you miss, you're in trouble, because you don't have a lot of bullets to begin with. So we'll pick that up. The Valiance, which is the most expensive, I think, of all the weapons here. Even the ones that we already purchased. The Typhoon was pretty expensive, but I think that was, what, $175? So it's still a fair bit more expensive than even that. The Valiant is a sniper rifle tested by Alliance soldiers during a series of harsh survival exercises on the planet Crueljavin. Okay. This streamlined weapon employs a sophisticated fire control system that improves accuracy by stabilizing the barrel during targeting. Although this comes at the cost of reduced capacity and rate of fire, most soldiers find the increase in precision and quick reloading time a worthy trade-off. I personally have used the Valiant very, very little, so I have basically no experience with it and can't really speak to its strengths or weaknesses all that much, but it sounds like from the description that, at least in theory, it's a high accuracy, maybe slower rate of fire, and perhaps not quite the same damage per second that you might be expecting out of the other high-end sniper rifles. I think you may be able to shoot several times before you need to reload. Did it say something about that? Although it comes at the cost of reduced capacity and rate of fire. I don't know. We'll check this one out, of course. Then the Eagle, and this is almost like a mini assault rifle in pistol form, and that it fires quite quickly. The damage is, when upgraded, actually quite solid as well. It's probably not going to hit quite as hard as most assault rifles, but it can get up there, and probably surpass at least the lower level assault rifles and compete with the mid-range ones. And because it's a pistol, it's relatively light. Squad mates that can only equip pistols and can't use assault rifles, this is an option for them, and so it makes it a fairly well-rounded weapon. When the Alliance's offensive handgun project received funding to update one of its designs, its engineers chose to redesign the already impressive Phalanx pistol. Like its predecessor, the Eagle is a compact, fully automatic pistol. The Phalanx is automatic? I did not remember that. That delivers unprecedented accuracy and punch with a rapid firing rate. That is really the point of emphasis. It shoots quite fast for a pistol. Might be the fastest rate of fire of any pistol. Off the top of my head, it is, but I might be forgetting something. The Eagle is named after the Desert Eagle, a classic handgun which gained a romantic reputation among gun collectors thanks to its popularity in 20th and 21st century Earth action movies. Alright, we'll pick this up, and at 80,000 credits, it's a pretty solid value, I'd say. Then we have the Defender here, which is obviously not a weapon, it's a piece of armor. However, we were saying how there is an achievement for acquiring 2 full sets of armor, not the, individual greaves and helmet and chestplate and what have you. And I'm not sure if the Cerberus Spirit Armor that we got counts toward that total or not, because I don't remember seeing the achievement pop up. I thought we got another Cerberus Armor of some variety. I forget how, but we got that previously as well. And so I would have thought that we'd be at 2 full sets, but maybe we purchase this just in case. Now, after having acquired that Cerberus Armor, and again, obviously, depending on which one you take, the stats will be different. Bear in mind that there are some armors in the game that are just objectively worse across the board than those Cerberus Armors, because they have, in some cases, exactly the same stats, just lower, or the same types of stats, but maybe the bonus Cerberus Armor has one totally new additional type of stat that the other type of armor just doesn't have at all, and so it may not do the primary thing any better than the whatever armor you were using initially, but gives you a little bit of additional things to consider to be a tiebreaker. Or in some cases, yeah, it might actually be lower on the stats, less specialized in one given thing, but just the total number of bonuses you're getting, in theory, outweighs what you're getting for many of the other armors that are available earlier on in the game. In which case, you could potentially still make the case for sticking with one of the older armors. That's kind of what we're doing right now, is deliberately sticking with our health and shields armor, because we like having health and shields, but if we wanted to go all-out offense, then obviously the spirit armor that we picked up would be the way to go. So, for that reason, the Defender may very well fall into that category. Weapons damage, shields, health, ammo capacity. I think one of the options for the Cerberus Armor had a lot of those things. The one that was more weapons damage oriented might have only had 10% ammo capacity. Might have, I think it had headshot damage in addition, and we obviously don't see that here. I think it had 10% shields. I don't think it had the health, so you might be missing out on that, but I think you have other offensive things contributing to the equation that would probably still make that version of the Cerberus bonus armor more effective, depending on how much you value that 10% health. But I think we're mostly just picking this up for the sake of getting the achievement, and it also looks pretty cool, so we'll take it. And the Rosenkopf Greaves, I mean, they're cheap. We missed them, and they kind of, sort of, work toward what we're trying to do with this build, as we are a power-based character. As I was just saying, for the most part, we're prioritizing shields and health, but it's cheap enough that why not? Then the Valkyrie and the Chalk Room Launcher are, I think, both weapons that we picked up in DLCs. They might have both been from Omega. So for that reason, they might just not show up for upgrades. In the Normandy, you might need to upgrade them here. And they are both pretty solid weapons. I can't really speak too much to the Chalk Room Launcher, because this is, at least in Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, which is where I get most of my weapons experimentation experience in. It's a modded weapon there, so I've only used it once or twice. So I don't have a lot of experience there, but in theory, I think we tested it out, and it does pack a pretty decent punch. The Valkyrie is kind of a hybrid assault rifle, sniper rifle, fires kind of slowly, but I think it might have an additional headshot multiplier, and it is generally very accurate, so even if it doesn't have an additional headshot multiplier, it's just easier to get headshots in the first place. So for that reason, if you're trying to go with a precise assault rifle, then this is one of your best options. So I think it's worth trying to upgrade that, and it looks like we can only do that once. Maybe we would have to go back to Normandy, and we can still upgrade them further there. I'm not sure. So, of course, these are all the weapons that we just purchased. But let's head into the firing range. Because I think, oh, we already had the Valiant, thank you very much. I'm pretty certain of this. We just upgraded it further. That's a little odd. Defender, I don't think I saw an achievement pop up in the bottom right corner here, unless it's going to pop up as the last thing here. Huh. Now it says Valkyrie 2. I thought we got the Valkyrie number 1, and that we were just upgrading the upgraded Valkyrie number 2. I went straight to Chalk Room number 2, I think. It did. I don't think it said Chalk Room number 1, so I don't know if the game's just getting confused there. But anyways, that's an aside. Let's check out a bunch of new weapons here. So I guess we'll leave our existing weapons unchanged if we can. So the Black Widow, very, very heavy. But as I was saying, unlike many other sniper rifles, it does hold several shots in a clip, and so you can shoot several times, and with a huge amount of damage, it is great. Great assault rifle, and arguably the best by some accounts. So we'll try that out. Just see if there... Yeah, we'll stick with this first, and then we'll see if there are other sniper rifles that we've not yet tried. For assault rifles, what's new here? Shock room, like I said, we have tested that out before. Valkyrie, we upgraded that. Harrier, right. Let's go for that. So in this case, the fire rate, really, I'm surprised it says it's that slow. I don't think of it as being all that slow. But capacity, it's a little misleading there. It is quite low. So, and the damage is, at least it may not look like much, but assault rifles, the damage meter tends to be quite low there because it's the combination of damage plus fire rate that adds up to be quite effective. And accuracy, solid. So that's the Harrier. Obviously, we're crazy heavy right now, our loadout, but then for pistols, we added the Eagle, I remember. Did we add anything else? We did. Because I remember we also took the Paladin. So Paladin, as we were saying, a little bit heavy as pistols go, but the damage is solid. What did we have here before? Why does the damage look so high? It's the Acolyte, which, at least in some specific situations, does pack a big punch, but it has the world's slowest fire, kind of, the world's slowest firing rate, so a little misleading. And Paladin also pretty accurate, so it's sort of... I mean, I almost say it's like a... No, I'm just not even going to finish that thought. The Executioner pistol is the hybrid pistol sniper rifle. So let's see what we have here. So what would we like to start with? Maybe... go with the Black Widow first. So this is the sniper rifle. It zooms in a lot. And obviously, it also tells us the range that we're shooting from, which is kind of cool. But I think it's mostly just for style. So... obviously, we're one-shotting stuff, especially if we're hitting it in the head. That's at least for basic health. Notably, we did not have to reload. We one-shot the armored target, if we hit it in the head as well. And then the shielded target, I believe we also one-shot there. That's why it's back up to full HP. So you can shoot 3 times before you need to reload, which for a sniper rifle is pretty significant, because most sniper rifles, not only do you need to reload after one shot, usually that is a really long reload animation as well, so it is kind of painful if you don't get the job done with one shot. So that's what it's like if you're firing in quick succession. And so, sure, there's still a fair bit of recoil, but the weapon kind of does still... let's see, does it get itself back down? Yeah, I mean, it does if you're just waiting for the recoil. Then it does put itself back right to where you fired your first shot, so it does make it easier to chain together headshots with that kind of speed, and that's reasonably fast. Obviously, you need a little bit of window there to get all those headshots in, but that's going to give you a whole lot of damage. So that's the Black Widow, and that's why a lot of people like it and consider it to be one of, if not the best, sniper rifles in the game. It does, like the Javelin, have, I believe it's 1 meter of built-in cover penetration, even without any piercing mods. Obviously, we have not modded this at all yet, so you can give it even more damage if you were to put on an extended barrel. So, that's the Black Widow. Then, other new stuff includes, why don't we go Paladin next? So, I haven't used the Paladin all that much myself, so I don't believe it is automatic. No, it's not automatic. So, it's pretty hard. This is an armor target. Does have a little bit of kick. Not a ton for pistol, but unlike the Black Widow that we were just doing, I'm not adjusting the aim at all. So I'm just gonna fire without moving the cursor at all. And you'll see that if you don't adjust, you are gonna have to make up for the muzzle climb a little bit there, and if we're trying to go for the shield start, if we're trying to fire more quickly. Let's see, how fast can you go? Oh, also, having ammo would help. Not a ton. To be fair, I think, it hits really hard, comparatively speaking, for pistols. So that's part of the idea, is you're making every shot count. Not as extreme as, say, something like the Executioner pistol, but it might be the next most extreme. So, it depends what you like in your weapons. If you're looking for slower, harder-hitting weapons in the pistol slot, then this is one of your stronger candidates. Again, Execution pistol being the most extreme option, but this being a little more of a middle ground than that. Then we have the Harrier. Last but certainly not least, let's just set these targets. So, and also that, using the Paladin from range seems like that's pretty reasonable to do. Whereas the Harrier, this is why I was saying, I was kind of surprised that it was saying the rate of fire was not good. Rate of fire is totally fine. It's exactly what you would expect of an assault rifle. I don't think it's the fastest of all the assault rifles. It's not a particle rifle, but it's solid. This is me not adjusting the aiming at all. Pretty minor, that muzzle climb there, so, you know, if you're trying to direct for it, you can do so fairly easily. And there you see, we're now out of ammo. So that is the biggest risk, the biggest weakness of this weapon is just the very limited ammo supply. And so, you might be dealing a lot of damage while you're firing, but you won't be firing for very long before you run out. So for that reason, it is important that you either upgrade the weapon, or I think actually, I mean, I don't use the Harrier all that much myself, but one of the go-to plans with the setups for the Harrier may even be to try to increase the ammo capacity, rounds per magazine, because does that only increase the wrong one? But does that only increase the actual rounds per magazine, or does that also increase the total ammo capacity? I'm not sure that increases the total ammo capacity. We are interpreting that literally. Which means you can fire more before you have to reload. But you still have the same total number of shots in the gun on the whole. So in truth, you're still going to blow through all that ammo just as quickly. But, you know, doing something like getting an ammo effect, or an ammo power with the additional ammo capacity, might not be a bad idea when combined with the Harrier, and also just having a secondary weapon so that if you do run out of ammo and you don't have a good way to get ammo back, you have a way to not be totally caught in a pinch with no weapons that you can use anymore. Let's see, we do still have some other things available to us that we've not yet tried. The Valiant, this was a new one that we picked up. Like I said, I don't think I've used this much at all. So, a little bit lighter by assault rifle standards, at least relative to the Black Widow, but the Black Widow is about as heavy as it gets. So let's try it out. A little bit lower damage, theoretically, but again, you know, read into those meters at your own risk. Oh, well, this is, that's still the Harrier, which is why that was firing so fast. I was like, what? This is basically an assault rifle. That's because that was an assault rifle. Oh, I kind of like that. Basically no kick at all. You can shoot 3 times before you have to reload something. Kind of similar to the Black Widow in a way. Feels like it's maybe just a slightly less extreme Black Widow. Not quite as heavy. I don't think it has quite as much damage as the Black Widow. I don't think it has the built-in cover and armor penetration that the Black Widow has, so in terms of damage per shot, it's probably not going to be as high, but I think this is still, it's definitely still firing faster than the Black Widow, at least a little bit. Like I said, it's lighter, so it doesn't come with quite as many downsides, but that's intriguing. That's intriguing. I like the feel of that one, and I usually do not consider myself to be a sniper rifle user much at all, and so that's saying something coming from me. See, other than that, we also have the Eagle, I think, is the one thing we've not yet tried. So, lighter than the Paladin, as we were saying, the Paladin is pretty heavy as pistols go. I think the Eagle is even maybe average, if not slightly above average in terms of weight. But this is the one that is kind of like a hybrid between a pistol and an assault rifle. Because it is fully automatic, it does have kick. Okay, this is without adjusting for the kick at all. Fair bit of climb, but it's manageable. It's not absurd. And, so it shoots pretty quickly, obviously. Has what can turn into quite solid damage from the pistol slot. So if you're looking to try to just maximize damage from the pistols, you're trying to be a weapons user as your primary source of damage, then Eagle is not a bad option in the pistol slot. And depending on what approach you're trying to take, if you're looking for a fast-firing pistol, then there's probably no better option. But if you're looking for a slower, harder hitting with an individual shot pistol, then, you know, Paladin, Executioner may be the way to go. Otherwise, you have more niche ones. Card Effects is not bad as well. At least I personally like it. Scorpion, a little more unusual with the delay and then explosion, of course. The Talon, that's another really great, hard-hitting, shotgun-esque one. Arc Pistol, arguably the best pistol. Another one that is slow, sort of a hybrid between pistol and sniper rifle, but when you do charge it up, it's just absurd damage. Suppressor, oh, I totally forgot about the suppressor. Absurd headshot damage multiplier. So, hard to speak ill of that. Acolyte, at least for our use, our purpose of trying to deal with shields and barriers, particularly shields, to help set up our biotics, because our biotics very rarely work, or at least work at reduced effectiveness against shielded enemies. It means that the Acolyte is just a nice little eights to have up our sleeve for when our enemies would counter us. You know, things like Marauders, and we wouldn't usually be able to Singularity to set up with our Singularity plus Warp combo, or Cerberus, or Geth, where just, I was about to say half, but really more than half, almost all of their units have shields. Then this is another thing that just, although in other circumstances the damage is definitely not as good, it's just, it's so good in the niche that we are currently finding ourselves in that that's why it's been our go-to. Then the Executioner, like I said, is another one that's a little bit memey, but technically speaking, if you are shooting for the head, I guess Suppressor probably still outclasses it, but that is in part because the Suppressor is just ridiculously strong, and only becomes available at the end of the game, at least in single player, and in multiplayer at least. The Executioner is not as strong as it is in the campaign, but, so, I like pistols. Maybe you can tell, based on how I spoke highly of almost everything that we just looked at. Obviously the Predator is the starting pistol, and the Phalanx, not the biggest fan of those. Carnifex doesn't get that much praise, but I think it's solid. Again, good for the headshots if you can make it happen. So, my pistol might be my favorite weapon slot, to be honest, but, Acolyte still makes sense for us. He says as he locks in the Arc Pistol. But, there's a look at some of the other options, and why don't we, while we're at it, since I think we've now looked at all of the new weapons that we picked up, including some really strong ones. Some ones that we were hoping we might get a chance to save up for, but not sure if we were ever going to have enough monies to make it happen. Definitely nice to get the chance to use them, at least test them out, but they're the kinds of things that, even if Shepard isn't the best fit for them, people like Liara, Edie, who don't usually have access to the heavier types of weapons, we might have some good options for them now. Okay, so we purchased all the big weapons, all the remaining weapons, from the Spectre Requisition Terminal, but we were only able to do a couple of upgrades there. Most of the upgrades, all of the remaining upgrades of course, would need to take place on the Normandy, so I'm thinking we head back over there. We have gone through what is basically half, a little over half, of our credits to make all those weapons purchases. So, I mean, the upgrades do add up. It's hard to tell exactly how much those are going to cost because, of course, the first upgrade is relatively cheap and then they incrementally get increasingly expensive. So, hard to know what they're all going to cost at the end of the day. So, you know, are we able to fully upgrade every single weapon? Maybe not. I'm not really sure. If all those weapon upgrades are going to cost more than the base weapons that we just purchased, then obviously we know the answer is we will not have enough for them because we just spent slightly more than half of our credits on those weapons, but only one way to know for sure. Oh, there's a new message, says Trainer. Oh, I'm pretty sure that we went back to Normandy and checked our messages after finishing the Citadel DLC, so I'm not entirely sure what this is going to be about. Your N7 Defender armor from Hackett. Shepard. Never had the chance to use some new N7 equipment back on Earth. I've arranged for the N7 Defender armor to be delivered to the Normandy before supply lines even get less reliable than they are now. Look for the armor next time you're suiting up on a mission. It's more than just a little extra plating. Hackett. I mean, he says this, he sends us this as if we're getting it for free. It might have originally been some kind of, like, pre-order bonus or a DLC add-in, whereas this time around in Legendary Edition, you actually just have to purchase it directly from a shop. That's kind of what it sounds like based on this framing from Hackett. It really sounds like he's suggesting that we're just getting this for free when we totally just spent a whole lot of money to get it. But, alas, so be it. Okay. A message from Liara. Shepard. I thought it might be nice to spend some time away from Normandy. I don't have anything in particular in mind. Perhaps we can meet at your apartment and decide from there. Okay. Meeting up with Liara. Edie. Shepard, shore leave activities. As part of my education, I think it would be appropriate if you and I participated in rituals found in all human cultures. That is, not the most human way of phrasing anything. Reply, and we can meet at the new apartment. From Jack. Shep, I heard the Silver Sun strip place has a combat simulator, and I felt like kicking the crap out of something. Get down there, if you're game. I mean, we have been there, and we have definitely been game. So, sounds like there may be other additional opportunities to meet up with squad mates. We obviously met with some of them in some places on the Silver Sun Strip, but it sounds like there are others that only become available after reading your emails, and I'm not sure why those popped up when they did. Not sure if there's like a specific set of things that we need to do on the Silver Sun Strip / post finishing the main component of the Citadel DLC before they become available to us, because I'm pretty sure we checked our emails earlier after finishing the main component of the DLC, and it's nothing there. Okay, so now that we're down here, it means we have a whole lot of weapons we can upgrade. So I think what we're going to do here is, I'm not sure. I am not convinced that we have enough credits to just blindly upgrade everything up to max. And of course, I'm not about to do the math for all these right now. So I think what we'll do is we will deliberately target the weapons that we are the biggest fans of and upgrade those first, and then if we still have credits, we can continue to unlock additional stuff. If we don't have any more credits, then we can say, alright, this is where we draw the line. Actually though, hold on. Deliberately going to tab out for a second here. I'm curious to see, we were talking earlier about how I believe there was a challenge for getting 2 of the full sets of armor, purchasing those. And we obviously just recently bought the N7 armor. And I would have thought that we would have gotten that achievement, but I didn't think I saw a pop-up for it. So I'm just thinking to myself, as we're potentially about to spend all of our remaining monies, do we have anything else that we still want to buy? And oh, there are still, hold on, actually, getting a little ahead of myself here. Because we were also talking about maybe trying to pick up other stuff from the Presidium Commons. We did buy a lot of stuff there recently, picking up what at one point in time we said were weapons that we did not initially think were worth purchasing, but we had money at the time, so we said, why not? There's a chance we've actually gotten all of them now, but I don't remember. So we'll do a quick check, I suppose, before we start looking at upgrades.
You're cleared to dock, Normandy. Do you need ground transport?
And that means we're going to the Commons, of course.
Cab to the Presidium.
It'll be there momentarily.
Okay, So, like I said, we have almost all the money in the world. Now, technically, there's nothing stopping us from going back to the arena and running 100 more of those challenge runs in order to get even more credits, and then we could definitely spend with Reckless Abandon and not even have to worry at all about getting other stuff. But no, there are still some weapons we've not acquired. I hate the Geth Plasma SMG with a burning passion. I think it is a horrendous weapon, but we could purchase it. It just deals quite literally 0 damage, and the only use I can think of for this weapon is if you're trying to combine it with an ammo effect to either prime enemies, or in particular with the incendiary explosive ammo, just rack up as many explosions as possible. It is probably one of the best options from the SMG slot, because it shoots very quickly. It just deals basically no damage when it shoots. On the other hand, you could use the Hurricane, which also shoots really fast and actually deals damage. So that would probably still be preferable. The Hurricane is just significantly more expensive than the Geth Plasma SMG, so this is, I guess you could make the case, in some ways, kind of like a scuffed budget Hurricane, but extremely budget version that is so much worse than the original. But because we can afford it, we'll take it. Then Bloodpack Punisher is, by some accounts, a solid weapon. There are some people who I think absolutely love it. I myself am not that experienced with it and probably would not include myself in that company. I thought we acquired Cerberus Armor from somewhere. I thought as we were flipping through our full armor sets that we had seen this, and I don't remember how or why or where we got it, but it does make me a little alarmed to see that we can also purchase it here. So if we were thinking that we might want to get an additional full armor set, then maybe this is not the right one to do it on. And ammo, weapons damage, not really things we're looking for, even though obviously those can be quite useful for other people. The shields and health more so, but we can do better with our other individual pieces, so probably going to pass on that stuff. Ultralight pistols, I don't really think we care about that. Shotgun Omniblade, sure. We do have some, especially in the arena, some squad mates that have shotguns that could theoretically go for melee damage, like our Krogan friends. So it's not out of the question. That might get used, certainly not on Shepard, but it makes some sense. So I think we leave it at that shop. Then anything that feels useful here. This is maybe more so the place where we'd be looking to pick up one of the full armor sets, either Blood Dragon armor for the... And this is a good example of something that is probably just a worse version of the Cerberus Spirit armor that we got before, because I think we got either 10 or maybe 20% power recharge speed, and similar for the power damage. This might have slightly more power damage. And shields, I think we got 10% as well, but I think we also, from the Cerberus Spirit armor, we got 10%, so this is actually definitely better for shields. But we also got shield regeneration speed on the Cerberus armor. I am not a huge fan of that. I'd definitely take additional 10% shields over shield recharge speed, but it's an option. Again, it's sort of a budget version. The Reckoner Knight is a little bit cheaper for what it's worth. Melee damage, weapons damage, shields, health. Has some things that are okay for us. Again, shield and health, I think most armor are going to have at least a little bit of that. But the melee damage is definitely not what we're looking for, and that is the primary thing that this has. So I'm thinking we're probably skipping everything here.
We appreciate your visit.
Just not really anything that feels super necessary. But of course, there are other spots down here. Actually, before we go down there, let me tab that for a second. Let me double check. See if we have acquired said achievement. Let's see. Open up all the achievements real quick. Have we acquired the one in question? I don't remember what it's called. It's probably easier to see the ones that we've not yet acquired. This. Always prepared. Obtain 2 non-customizable suits of armor. Apparently, we've not yet achieved this. So that would suggest that we should still buy some additional armor sets here. So, I mean, I guess we'll just buy the ones over here, even if they aren't necessarily the best fits for us. Blood Dragon would have been a decent starting point if we were going for the all-out power-based stuff. Okay, so you have to purchase them. That is the achievement that we just saw. So 1 point of progress. And then Reckoner Knight, definitely not a great fit for us, but it is 10,000 credits cheaper, so sure.
Cultivating serenity. Thank you for shopping at even during times of crisis.
Excuse me? It didn't pop up? What? We bought it specifically for that achievement. Alright, I mean, we can buy the Cerberus Armor as well. It's starting to get a little bit pricey. All the stuff that we don't really want, but there it is. Always prepared. Maybe that was just a delay on getting the achievement when, in truth, it did in fact come from purchasing the, what was it, the Reckoner one? And we just spent 50,000 credits that we didn't need to spend. Hopefully that was not the case, but we're now a little below 500,000. That was the equivalent of potentially several weapon upgrades, or at least fully upgrading at least one weapon, I would think.
Welcome to Casa Fabrication Weaponry.
The Indra, I think, is, by some accounts, a very solid sniper rifle. So, sure. We'll pick it up. Then, pistol melee stunner, I mean, do we have people who can only use pistols? Squad mates that can only use pistols that might be looking to do melee damage. Kasumi, to a certain extent, would probably be the closest, the most likely to want to use this. So what, she's pistols and SMGs? Wouldn't necessarily rule it out. I'm not sure it's a super high priority. Pistol piercing mod is still also not... Yeah, we should probably take this. It doesn't make sense for the Acolyte, because Acolyte can't pierce, but if we are ever to find ourselves going with something like the Arc Pistol, then it makes a lot of sense for that. Not sure either of those things are super high priority. Any of those things, really. Inferno Armor, this is another one that is very similar to the Cerberus Spirit Armor that we picked up from the Arena Reward, because it's pure recharge speed, pure power damage. Again, might technically be a little bit higher, because I don't remember what the number is on the Cerberus Spirit Armor for that stuff. It's might be a little more specialized for that reason, but the Cerberus Spirit Armor does have, in addition to the power recharge and power damage, other stuff going on as well that is obviously beneficial.
Thank you for shopping at Casa Fabrication Weaponry.
Okay, then anything else here? SMG Ultralight, don't think that's super necessary. Another pistol melee stunner. So we could go that route. The SMG heatsink, we should probably take this, although we've made the case that the Hurricane may not need it given how little we are firing it. It's still, I think, the right thing to do to make sure we have it in case we do change our minds about that. Did we pick up the melee stunner in the other shop? Yes, we did, because I'm pretty sure they said 4 previously. So sure, we'll take it. Ooh. Also, Pistol Cranial Trauma System gives you the headshot damage. This is great for the suppressor in particular. Now that we have that unlocked, this does become a more intriguing option. So maybe we do go that route. We personally are not really going that route, but it is just such a strong weapon that I think you have to at least consider that option if we were to play a new game plus. Pistol piercing scope, or piercing mod rather. As we said before, there are some pistols where this is just amazing. So I think it's probably worth taking that as well, because some of those pistols that it works particularly well on are some of the best pistols. And pistol scope, I mean, if you're trying to snipe with the suppressor or arc pistol, maybe, and then you turn them into actually full-blown sniper rifles, but kind of, sort of. But I think probably still looking to take damage over that accuracy anyway. Same there. And that's assault rifles, which at least for us is not super relevant, and our squad mates don't really need the extra precision. So, picked up a lot of several weapons there, a lot of mods, maybe more mods than I was expecting for us to do. The additional armors did take a pretty sizable chunk out from our credit count here. We are at 454,000, which certainly still enough to do a whole lot of weapons upgrades, but as I was saying, I think those are going to add up pretty quickly cost-wise. And so we may find that we don't have the ability to make nearly as many upgrades as we expected. But let's head back to Normandy, where we can make those upgrades, and we'll put that theory to the test. Another message? Armor from your fans, from Joker. Hey, Commander. We just got a shipment of armor delivered to the Normandy. It's from a group of Alliance soldiers who used to be stationed at Rhode Island. Is it Rhode Island, Earth? Don't know how they found us. They left a note that just says, "You'll need this more than we do." The armor is called Reckoner Knight. Ah, okay. So yeah, it looks like there are several armors that we can buy from shops that initially would have been part of either DLC packages or pre-order bonuses or those types of things. So they would have initially been free, and hence why these messages in original Mass Effect 3, not Legendary Edition, would have popped up probably right off the bat and just let you know, hey, this thing is available, you can pick it up. And it is, at least, free in-game, doesn't require any credits to be spent. But in this case, we get the email once we make the purchase. It's still worded the same way, so it still implies that it is free and that it just so happens to be delivered and showing up in our armor stores, but obviously that's not the case. So it's a little misleading. It's a little misleading. But let's head on back down and let's go to the shuttle bay and let's test just how many upgrades we can actually make. So this is probably worth saving before we do this. And now, let's see. Let's prioritize the things that we think are most important and make sure that we upgrade those. And then as we go further down the list, we'll get to the things where we say, you know, it'd be nice if we got the chance to upgrade them, but maybe they're not nearly as strictly necessary. Like Piranha, for example, we almost fully upgraded, couldn't quite afford to get it all the way up there. But it is a very solid shotgun for squad mates, and it's actually quite light, so you could even consider using it as a power-based character. The Lancer, speaking of powerful weapons that are light enough to use as power-based characters, the Lancer is probably the best assault rifle for that purpose. And it is even an assault rifle that I was considering using when we were going into the arena and trying out that challenge to do the no ammo clips, because the Lancer does not have a set number or set amount of ammo. It recharges automatically over time. It uses the Mass Effect 1 system, as we were saying previously. And it's solid damage. So it could have worked and given us more firepower, direct firepower than the Acolyte, outside of, you know, the one-shotting enemy shields, which was basically the only reason why we used the Acolyte to begin with, and continue to use it. But Executioner Pistol, I think, might be the other weapon, or at least the next weapon on the list. We have something. Harrier is really good. Although, the reason why we didn't purchase the Harrier earlier was because we were saying, I mean, it's an assault rifle. We already have the Typhoon. The Typhoon has been amazing. Is the Harrier ever going to be better than the Typhoon? Perhaps not. So, a little bit of hesitation there for that reason. Whereas the Executioner Pistol, the strength that this has is that, I mean, it hits super hard for a pistol. And we do have some squad mates that just don't have access to assault rifles, shotguns, or snipers, so they're really looking for something to give them that extra source of damage from the pistol or SMG slot. In particular, I'm thinking of Kasumi, and the Executioner Pistol could be a good way to make that happen. So, it's sort of the hybrid pistol sniper, as we've said several times before. And if we were looking to go with more weapons damage from the pistol slot for Shepard, then we could consider going that route, but I don't think that would be our preferred choice. Then, next on the list, Black Widow. You could probably make a solid case that this is better than the Javelin for squad mates. For Shepard, largely a matter of personal preference, but I think for squad mates, it's probably a little bit better to go for a fully upgraded Black Widow, because the upside of the Javelin is that extra quality of life of being able to see through walls and giving actually an indication of whether you have enough cover penetration to shoot an enemy and hit them through a wall or piece of cover, or if there's enough cover there that, you know, you're not going to break through it. And squad mates, obviously, that doesn't affect them at all. And that means that the Black Widow, which has, I think, a little bit higher damage, still has that same armor piercing, even if they can't see through walls and what have you. They don't need to as squad mates. It also has 3 shots per clip, whereas the Javelin just has 1. So I think for all those reasons, the Black Widow does make a lot of sense for us to upgrade here. It is expansive to upgrade, but it does mean that now both the Black Widow and the Javelin are very usable, and those are generally considered to be the 2 best sniper rifles in the game. So outside of that, I think now we're getting to stuff that is much less highly sought after. I mean, the Paladin we were kind of speaking highly of as pistol before. That might be worth upgrading a bit. Eagle, same thing there. Hornet's not bad when fully upgraded for the SMG slot, and SMG slot is a little bit tough to get good stuff there. Obviously, we do have the Hurricane, and the Hurricane is fully upgraded, so maybe we'll focus primarily on just leaning on that as we have thus far. Carnifex, I'm a big fan of, although I think other people are not as big a fan of it as I am. So I think, what does that leave us with? Why don't we go... I'm also a little bit intrigued by the Chakra Launcher, since it's not a weapon that I know very well. But I think... Oh, Claymore. Claymore is one that we were thinking about upgrading before. That's probably highest on the priority list, because this is arguably the best, if not objectively the best, close-range shotgun, which, depending on the situation, if you happen to know you're going to be in a close-range encounter numerous times in a mission, then that may be your preferred shotgun for either Shepard or, in our case, squad mates. Then... Base Widow. No. Don't think that's super necessary after having upgraded the Black Widow. Oh, Suppressor. We should upgrade the Suppressor. That is very, very strong. If you get the headshots in particular. Not great for squad mates, I wouldn't think, at least not for getting those headshots, since they don't go out of their way to make that happen. But if we were trying to go the more direct weapon damage route, and we want to try to be precise with it, then that's obviously one of the best ways to do so. So that's an option for us to consider now, although we're probably going to stick with the Acolyte for the most part. We notably have burned through our credits here fairly quickly. Many of those upgrades were on types of weapons that are a little more expensive to upgrade than others, so that might have been a little bit of a factor, but still. I think, however, that being said, the weapons that we have upgraded are really good ones, so I'm happy that we prioritize those. The Raider is another one, like the Claymore, that is really effective at close range, so that one might be worth upgrading here as well. You could make the case that since we upgraded the Claymore, you don't really need to upgrade both of them, just pick one of them and stick with just that. And, you know, that's a solid case to be made. You're not wrong. But we do have a little bit of credits to spare still. And I think we've gotten the big ones. Anything more niche, like the Chakram Launcher, again, I'm intrigued. So, sure. Because I know so little about it and have used it so little. The Valkyrie is a strong weapon. So sure, we'll go for that. The Grawl is not terrible, though. It's best for Shepard, because it is a charge-up weapon, so I don't think squad mates are that good at using it, and since Shepard's probably not about to use a fairly heavy shotgun, we'll probably pass on that for now. Paladin may be next on the list. Paladin and Eagle? I think we go that route. Call me a pistol purist. My preference for pistols. Yes, I admit it. But at the end of the day, I think they're good weapons. And because they're good weapons, I think they're probably worth upgrading. There we go. Okay. So then... Carnifex, personally, I like. I'm not sure it really can quite stack up to some of the more expensive, higher caliber types of weapons in more ways than one than we have purchased more recently. But that being said, I mean, we don't have that many big weapons remaining. The Saber is... There are some people who like that a lot. It's a slow-firing but hard-hitting assault rifle. Could consider it. I mean, Widow... I mean, it's similar to the Black Widow, so despite it technically being another really strong sniper rifle, I think since we did already do the Black Widow and upgrade that all the way, probably not needed. Oh, Harrier. Yeah, we should still do Harrier. I mean, as we were saying before, similar use case to the Typhoon. So because we fully upgraded the Typhoon, you could make the case that you don't really need to fully upgrade the Harrier, but it is still a strong weapon, so we'll go for it. And... Valiant I was impressed with. I think it's a little bit... I'd be intrigued to see this compared right next to the Widow, or really Black Widow, because I think there's a lot of similarities there, at least from my first experimentation, but I really have not used it very much. I was pleasantly surprised by it, though. So maybe we upgrade that. Because at this point, I think we can be... You know, we can upgrade just about anything. There aren't any glaringly obvious ones remaining, I don't think. I think we've done a decent job of mixing in upgrading shotguns, sniper rifles, assault rifles, pistols, SMGs, and all that stuff, what have you. SMGs maybe being the one kind of sort of exception to that, but SMGs, they're the fewest of them in the game, of all the weapon types, and also, I think, a lot of bad SMGs. You know, we have the Hurricane, which is just by so many counts objectively the best SMG in the game. The Hornet, yeah, I mean, it's on the cheaper side, so sure. We'll upgrade it, but I think we're still going to be going Hurricane just about all the time. And we still have some monies left. Maybe we go Saber. Although, at this rate, I do really like the Geth Plasma Shotgun, although this is another one that, unless we're going to use it for Shepard, it's not going to be all that helpful, because it is a very significant charge-up weapon, and so if squad mates are not going to do that charge-up, then it is far weaker and just not a great fit for that reason. If we were to use it on Shepard, then I love it. It'd be great, but it's kind of heavy, and so it's not really great for a power-based character like we're currently running. So I think we probably pass on it for that reason. And I'm thinking maybe we stop there. It's a lot of upgrades we're about to see over here. But I think we stop here because trying to remember, I think the credits might carry over to New Game Plus. The weapon upgrades certainly do. So it means we'll have a bunch of strong weapons to begin with, if we are to ever play New Game Plus on this character, which will be nice. Be a little bonus to have, and we'll have a little bit of a head start when it comes to credits. Not a huge amount, because we have, of course, spent the large majority of those credits, and as we suspected, turns out that even with 1 million+ credits, still nowhere near enough to fully upgrade every single weapon. And bear in mind, in your initial playthrough, weapon levels cap off at 5, but by the time you get to your New Game Plus, you can increase the level further, and as we've seen, weapon upgrades get more expensive the higher the level, so it's going to cost a whole lot more monies to fully upgrade other weapons on a New Game Plus. That being said, obviously, if we were to play New Game Plus ever, then we're going to get more credits from playing through the rest of the game. It's not like on a New Game Plus, we get the starting credits from having carried over all of those gold reward prizes for 10,000 credits from going in the arena. No, there will still be an entire game in which we earn credits, so, you know, I think it's fine if we start off with, what was it, 56,000? It's a nice little boost to get things started, but it's not like it's a, you know, we're not starting with 1,000,000 credits. So I think we're ready to head back up. I mean, I imagine these two don't have anything special to say to us. I'm pretty sure we checked in on them previously.
Hey.
Yeah, nothing new. All right. So in that case, let's head back up. Okay. This is probably going to take approximately 1 eternity for all of these weapon mods to upgrade. Or to pop up here. Which, just a little taste of what it was like to redeem the 100 gold prizes for, 10,000 credits apiece, and do that 100 times, and, that obviously did fill up a whole lot of these little bottom right notifications, and I was waiting for quite some time for those to finish as well when I did that. But I think it's time. I think it's time to head back. We're still getting the notifications even here on the galaxy map, but I think it's time to head back to the Citadel and the Silver Sun Strip specifically,